What is up, guys? It's playoff day, baby. My very first ever time following along the playoffs, and it all kicks off today. I'm going to watch one of these games tonight. I won't be able to watch it live because, we're making this video that I'm streaming. But I'm going to try. I reckon I could sneak in a hockey game tonight after I finish my stream. I'm going to try to watch one of these playoff games. And I'm really excited about the Battle of Ontario. You guys have been telling me all about it. Now, since it's playoff day, we have the final day of Zerophobic's playoff hype. He's taken over the stream. We got a bunch of videos. There's going to be... What the hell? Get out of here, Windows. It's playoff day. All right, sorry. We're going to just go into them. There's a few to watch, so we're just going to get into it. I don't know what he's picked out other than just seeing the titles.
Hey, everyone. Scott here with another
Hockey Treasures.
Stories behind the artifacts. This time, we're looking at what has got to be the greatest artifact ever in hockey history. It's the bowl bought in London, England for roughly $50 and donated in 1892 by Lord Stanley, Canada's Governor General, to determine the national champion of the Dominion of Canada.
Wait.
It's the original Stanley Cup. Let's check it out.
Did he?
This artifact ever in hockey history. It's the bowl bought in London, England for roughly $50 and donated in
$50
by Lord Stanley,
and Lord Stanley donated.
To determine the national champion of the Dominion.
It's worth more than $50 these days, guys.
Let's check it out.
Cool. This is the Stanley Cup, the base where it's all grown from.
Now that we have the original bowl out of the showcase, we can take a closer look.
Oh, look at that beautiful engraving.
Countless fascinating stories when it comes to the Stanley Cup, which we will explore in other episodes. But right now, the best place to start is with the name on the cup. And it reads the
Dominion Hockey Challenge Cup. With that cool, etched engraving. Okay.
Most people don't realize that during the Cup's formative years, there was no Stanley Cup playoffs as we know them today. This Cup started as a Challenge Cup.
Right.
It works kind of similar to how the boxing title works. Teams first had to win their respective leagues, and then they could challenge for the Stanley Cup. The first team to be awarded the cup was the Montreal.
Look at those uniforms, guys.
Montreal AAAs in 1893.
They actually have unique
challengers to win the cup
wings.
The Winnipeg Victorias in 1896. The challenge format that was set out by Lord Stanley was used for the first 20 years of the cup's existence, which eventually gave...
Oh my god. Which team had the dog for the mascot? Oh my god. He's got a little overbite.
And then a playoff format that we recognize today emerged. So, again, what we've got is the original Stanley Cup, and you're going to find that in Lord Stanley's vault at the Hockey Hall of Fame. Thanks, everybody.
Awesome. All right. Kicking it up with a little bit of history. What have we got here? Now, this is a long one. This is the meat of today's one.
It's just, I don't...
The entire 130-year history. And you see what it means. You see what it means to this player.
It's hard to describe.
The feeling. Everything they work for. Think about the effort. Oh. So we're getting the entire history. I'm going to be a history buff on hockey. I'm not the best at watching the game. I've been copping some flack for missing some key stuff, but, I got to learn that part. But history, we're getting the history down.
To most, the Stanley Cup is just a trophy. But for players, it's a symbol of sweat.
I would argue you've already started with a false premise, mate. I reckon any Canadian, it means more than just a trophy.
Determination and a shared love for the game. Although the Stanley Cup is awarded to the NHL's best team, the Cup's history goes way further back than just the NHL. In 1892, Lord Stanley of Preston wanted to commission a trophy
$50.
for the best team in Canada's finest amateur hockey league. So he went out and...
I was wondering why it was called the Stanley Cup. So it's Lord Stanley.
Lord Stanley bought the trophy for about 10 guineas, which was about $50 at the time.
10
translating
guineas.
to a little under $1,700. So it was a pretty pricey trophy, but definitely
All right, well, when you put it like that, it's a little more expensive.
worth every penny. Little did he know, he was planting a seed for a legacy that would span generations. Fast forward to today, and the cup is the ultimate prize
Oh,
in
look at that.
professional ice hockey.
Look at
and
that
a dream
presentation.
every NHL player chases. It's not just about winning, it's about the raw emotion the overtime thrillers, and the heart-stopping moments
That bloke
make
wins
the
best
journey
mustache.
unforgettable. When you see a player hoist that cup, you're witnessing the culmination
Wow.
of years and years of hard work, sacrifices, and camaraderie. It's a reminder that even during fierce competition, sports can bring us together in celebration of something bigger than ourselves. And in the 130 years of the Stanley Cup's
Oh, what's the
existence,
story behind that? Is this a former player who was injured? That would be my guess.
it has gone through many changes. The first version of the Stanley Cup was not what it is today, to say the least, and it actually wasn't even named the
Dominion
Stanley Cup.
Hockey Challenge
It
Cup.
was the Dominion Cup at the time, which was awarded to the champion of the Amateur Hockey Association of Canada, which included just 5 teams. The winner of the Dominion Cup that year was the Montreal Hockey Club, and the cup was quickly given its
And
nickname
Montreal's
after the Ottawa Journal used the Stanley Cup
rich
as the
history
trophy's name
starts
in an
there.
article. The next year had a whole new look for the Stanley Cup, as it now used tiers. This was the look of the trophy from 1893 all the way up until 1926. In this time, the trophy
Okay,
saw
so
the
that's a pretty long
collapse of
time.
2 leagues and the birth of a new one. The Amateur Hockey Association of Canada disbanded in 1898.
Trophy
and
scenes
the
and
National
things.
Hockey Association disbanded in 1917. And with the
Ah,
death
but
of
they
those
kept a
2
similar
leagues,
logo.
the NHL was
Right.
finally created. The winner of the NHL's first Stanley Cup was the Toronto Arenas, who defeated the Vancouver Millionaires of the PCHA. And if you guys want to learn more about that first season of the NHL, make sure to check this video out. The Cup then stayed in Canada for the next 8 seasons.
Just seeing that thumbnail made no sense. That's hilarious. And that is in line with a lot of things I've found in hockey. Like, there's just some really bizarre things that can't seem to happen in any other sports.
Before the newly added New York Rangers won it in just their 2nd season in the league. They also won the first stovepipe version of the Stanley Cup. The NHL used the stovepipe Stanley
yeah.
Cup from 1926 up until 1947, and it saw the end of the formative years of the NHL and the start of the
That
original
is
6 era.
huge.
With each winner, a new ring would be added every single year, which could explain why it got so out of hand. In 1948, the cup was redesigned, as the stovepipe cup was just becoming too difficult to handle with the extra rings being added. The base was moved back to the top of the bowl,
Oh,
and
jeez.
a new shoulder was added. All the teams that won during the stovepipe era were then combined into 9
There's a classic Maple Leafs image. I'm just going to say that bloke on the left looks strong as hell.
unique rings, with blank space for the next batch of winners. In the first year of what would become the original 6 era, the Leafs won the first Stanley Cup final to go to 7 games, and did so after losing the
Right.
first 3 games to Detroit. During this era, the Leafs and Canadiens each won 10 cups, with the Red Wings winning 5 and the Blackhawks winning 1. Beginning in 1958,
That's amazing.
the new design leaned more into the concept of putting multiple winning teams on the same ring, settling on 13 teams per ring. In order to maintain the size of the modern era cup, rings must be retired every 13 years, and when they are put into the Hockey Hall of Fame.
They based it all around the number 13. They're not superstitious. We can tell that.
Since the 1914-1915 season, the cup has been won 103 times by 20 current NHL teams and 5 teams that no longer exist. It was not awarded in 1919 because of the Spanish flu epidemic, and it was not awarded in 2005 because of the NHL lockout. Their franchise that has won the most Stanley Cups is the Montreal
NHL lockout. 2005.
Canadiens.
But you got through
with
COVID okay, obviously. That was a different time. But 2005 NHL lockout. Wonder what that was.
won 24 cups, which is 11 more than the second place Toronto Maple Leafs.
Wow.
And through those 25 franchises that have won a cup, there have been over
24
3,300 names etched into the cup. And the name that appears the most on the cup is Jean Beliveau, as he appears on the cup 10 times as a player and 7 times as management for 17 times, all with the Canadiens.
What a star of the organization. 17 times on the Stanley Cup, all around the one org.
There is little debate that the Stanley Cup is the most outstanding trophy in all of professional sports. However, no trophy in the world can create the party or the type of attention that this piece of hardware can. Players work their entire careers towards hoisting that trophy, and everyone gets their own day with the cup when their team is finally
Yeah, this thing's
successful.
fascinating.
And these guys definitely make the most of it. With just 24 hours with the trophy, players do not hold back, and even doing some pretty headline-worthy stuff. And one recent story that comes to mind is the summer of Ovi. Ovechkin's playoff success up until 2018 was nothing to write home about. With the second round being his kryptonite, he could never break through and find success. But in 2018, he finally broke that barrier and went on to win the coveted Stanley Cup. And he was excited. The partying began right as they got into the locker room, and he brought it to the nightclub, the Washington Nationals game. He took a bath in a fountain, slept with it, and this was all before the Stanley Cup parade even took place. The party obviously continued during the parade, and this is where Ovi had his famous line.
We're not gonna be fucking sunk this year!
While this is one of the more
What did he say?
We're not gonna be fucking sunk this year!
While this is one of the more
I'm not gonna lie, I actually can't understand what he said. If I had to interpret it, my guess is we're not gonna be sunk this year. But I genuinely don't know what he's saying. Stopped. Maybe he's saying we're not gonna be stopped. Okay, all right, yeah, that makes more sense.
memorable Stanley Cup celebrations, there are
With a
plenty more
little
that are
extra
worth
language.
talking about. The 1940-1941 season was a significant one for the New York Rangers. In addition to winning the Stanley Cup, the team paid off their mortgage on their world-famous arena, Madison Square Garden.
Wow.
To celebrate, the Rangers lit the mortgage on fire and put it in the cup, only to cause the cup to light on fire as well. But it wasn't to worry,
That's
as the players
hilarious.
put out the fire with their own urine. And one of
Sorry, wait a minute. They pissed on the Stanley Cup?
the
Okay.
weirder Stanley Cup stories out there is when the Stanley Cup ended up in the bottom of Mario Lemieux's pool. After winning the 1991-92 Stanley Cup with the Pittsburgh Penguins, Lemieux decided to go swimming
you
with
think
the
he's got the
trophy in his
dogs?
in-ground pool. It did not work as he hoped, and the trophy ended up at the bottom of the pool with him. After Lemieux retired, he joined the Penguins front office and went on to win 3 more Stanley Cups in 2009, 2016, and 2017, all where the tradition continued. While the cup has been to many parties, it's also had a lot of food in it, including Lucky Charms, ice cream, lobster, chicken wings, poutine, and many, many, many more.
Wow.
The Stanley Cup is not only a coveted prize, but also a profound symbol of the essence of hockey itself. Its legacy, spanning well over a century, is a testament to the sport's rich history. From its humble beginnings in the late 1800s, the cup is a
There is such an amazing history of hockey, which, you know, we're learning about, but I learned so much. There's not one video comment section where I don't learn something new about the game or equipment, like anything. It's always something new.
evolved into an icon that transcends time, deeply embedded within the game. The cup witnesses both the champion's success and the contender's defeat. It is a silent spectator to the stories of underdogs who defied the odds and dynasties that filled the history books. It echoes the passion of players, coaches, and fans.
Wow, you really see what it means to Ovi though, like
Dedication and
holy.
devotion. The mere existence of the cup can leave players speechless. The legacy of the cup is not just etched in its silver, but also in the roots of the sport, carrying its meaning for generations to come.
Very nice. So we've got a lot of extra history about the Stanley Cup.
Since 1893.
Craziest celebrations. Okay, we saw some of them there. I don't know if anyone's going to be pissing on it, but hopefully not. Jesus.
To win in sports, it is glorious, magnificent. The words don't really describe it.
Any stories with players, you know, taking it somewhere that's a little unique?
I can remember when Boston won, Zdeno Chara took it back to Trenčín, Slovakia, and it had been there a few times before. Marian Hossa had won it. Marian Gaborik went on to win it afterwards as well and brought it back to Trenčín also. They are all friends growing up, so they all go to one another's Stanley Cup party. When Zdeno finally won it, he was telling us about his day, and he goes, we're going to end up at the Trenčín Castle. He goes, you know the place, we go there every time. He goes, but this time I'm the host of it. I don't have to be a guest. And I just thought that was so special because that's the admiration that guys have one another. Although they didn't win it, they're celebrating their story. Philip Grubauer, a couple of years ago, Washington Capitals goalie, he is from the Bavarian Mountains outside
Bavarian
of
Mountains.
Germany. went to his neighborhood, and it was halfway up the mountain. We hiked up to the top of the mountain in Bavaria, and we went for a traditional German breakfast. And I remember on the way back down,
Hiked it up the mountain.
sharing it, and this herd of cows walks over. One of the cows puts his head inside the bowl, and he's licking it. Whether you can taste the beer or something that was
Yeah, I think it might have been the beer, mate.
in there from breakfast. But a guy takes a cup out in a different way. Maybe it's not always a mountain, or maybe it's not always the Trenton Castle, but in their hometown, it's their hometown, and that's what makes it special.
And speaking of mountains, I can picture the Niedermeyers up in the Canadian Rockies, right, with the cup. That's a great one, too.
Wow, that's
First time
beautiful.
Scott took it up there. I was in the dressing room in New Jersey, and they were all crowded around Marty Brodeur and Scott Niedermeyer and asking what they're going to do for their day with the cup. Scott said, I don't know, I'm just on top of the world right now. Little did anyone know he was going to take it to the top of the world. So he took it up there as a member of the New Jersey Devils, but then flash forward a few years when he wins with Anaheim, and Rob and Scott both go up the mountain with the cup this time. And
Wow, they took a helicopter
talking to
up?
him afterwards, and Scott says, what an idiot Rob was. He picks a peak that two guys can't even stand on, and he had to crawl across another peak. Brotherly love.
Yeah.
And here they are trying to get a photo, but the peak wasn't wide enough for two guys to stand on it with a Stanley Cup.
God, that
It's seen a
sounds
lot of
dangerous.
mountain ranges. It's seen a lot of different places around the world, and it's not done yet. It's only 129. It's got a long way to go.
Excellent. Flying with the Stanley
At
Cup.
Buffalo, the big day has finally arrived.
It's a big honor to go and pick up the Stanley Cup and fly to DC3.
Phil and Mike, better known as the Cup Cops, are eager to
The
get
Cup
going.
Cops.
We keep the briefcases handy? Yeah.
But Mikey's focused on one specific piece of baggage.
Holy smokes. This is it right here?
What are we going to do, have it out?
Oh yeah, if we can open it, that'd be pretty freaking cool. It was in this little black indiscriminate box. Didn't look anything fancy. Could have had a coffee maker in it for anyone's concerned. Oh.
Wow, it's huge, isn't it?
Holy smokes. It's almost embarrassing how much I like the cup. Right on.
That's cool.
Let him hold it.
No other inanimate object can make rugged, red-blooded Canadian men so giddy.
That's awesome.
What an awesome day for this
There
guy.
she is, eh? Holy.
It's time to board.
Shotgun this seat.
That's not going anywhere.
The Cup Cops, Phil and Mike, they were awesome. They wanted that cup out of the box at all times. Let it breathe, like it's there for people's enjoyment.
The Cup Cops. That's got to be a sought after job.
This is when Stanley was this little, look. This little guy. This year grew since then.
Travis
High
with Stanley.
five.
Oh, that's awesome, man! You can tell it meant so much to that guy. He was loving life. All right, so this is the 2010 Cup prepping. Here's its case. Could be a coffee machine in there, or the Stanley Cup.
Hi, I'm Philip Pritchard, the curator of the Hockey Hall of Fame, better known as the keeper of the Stanley Cup, and we're here in Philadelphia for games.
Excuse me, sir. You're a cop. Wait. You're a cop.
6 tomorrow night, and we're going to be over at the Wachovia Center depending on what happens. So for now, we'll just close the door and get some rest and see what happens tomorrow night for the big game. Hey guys, come on in.
So this is now
About an hour before game time here in Game 6.
Game
Giving
6.
Stanley a good scrub down before the game. We're using natural light and artificial light to make sure all the fingerprints are off it. And in the background, we got Big Billy up there. We got a pretty neat scene of downtown Philadelphia. But more importantly, we want all the fingerprints and everything off it for possible celebration and hoisting.
I mean, the cup has to have been damaged with all the crazy.
How do we shine this and everything? And
things people
And
are
basically
doing.
every day it gets touched by thousands of people. So we use a soft detergent and warm water, basically taking the fingerprints off it because all of our fingerprints have oil on it. Twice a year it goes in for a good cleaning at a silversmith when it gets engraved, and then before the playoffs start. But right now it's getting pretty clean there, ready to go. So right down on the bottom here, besides Pittsburgh, is a spot for the new champions. We got to get them nice and clean, ready to go. What a lot of people and a lot of fans aren't aware of, the names of the team actually doesn't go on until the end of the summer. All the players get the opportunity to take it home for a day with the management, coaches, equipment managers, the team parades, parties, and all that. And then once training camp starts, we take it to the silversmith to get engraved. It's 35 pounds, 36 inches high, and has a lifetime of memories. And one more memory is going to be made soon.
I think more than one. Each player gets, and coach gets to make a memory with it. Really has seen a lot.
It'll be pretty special for all of them. The Hawks last won it in 1961, so it's for Hawk fans around the world. It'll be special for obviously the diehard fans in Chicago. It'll be special, but for the players, it'll be unique, and I'm sure it'll be one of those games and one of those nights in the summer that they'll remember forever. The cup itself, I guess if it could talk, it would be telling you that it's going to be another notch on its belt and another summer of fun, starting with tonight in the dressing room and going from there. Here we are at the rink, we're ready to unpack.
I wonder if they've changed the case. I'm assuming these were from different years, but the cases looked identical. I mean, no, they definitely would keep that. That thing is custom made. And another clean down.
We're inside the arena, ready to go. It's all shined up. We'll see what happens.
Kane, watched by Kimmo Timonen to the net.
3-all.
Kane has scored the goal.
Oh. That was in overtime. 15 minutes of overtime? First OT? Huge. Ah, he's dodging sticks. All right, and we get the actual presentation. Not a fingerprint on it. Beautiful. Well, we've learned a lot more about the cup. As far as I know, like, it wouldn't be common for each player and member, of the organization to get a day with the cup. I love that they do that, though. It's freaking awesome. Some of the stuff they get up to is a little crazy, obviously. Surprised it hasn't been damaged. Like, I know it's metal, but geez. I mean, it ended up in the bottom of a pool and Lord knows what else. The cow eating from it. So we've learned a lot more about the Stanley Cup, which is what every team that's still in has just entered the playoffs. Round 1, game 1 starts today. I believe it actually has already started, but there'll still be more action to come. And now we know, what the Cup's been through. We've got the history of the Cup. Thank you, Xerophobic. Let's go see. Let's hope. I've been hearing about how the playoffs are just a different beast. And people are saying, and it sounds right, that it doesn't matter what happened before. It's about what happens now, obviously, but it's a different level. So what happened before doesn't matter because now this is like a whole new game. So I can't wait to see it. In fact, yeah, I'm definitely going to be watching some playoff games. And this will be my first actual full hockey games. I'm going to try to get one in tonight. All right. I'll see you guys soon. Enjoy the playoffs. Thank you for bringing me on this journey with you all. I appreciate you.